Welcome everybody. This is Brian here, one half of the Think Tank Guys, and today we're going to do an episode of the 52 ways to put your policy to work. Today's episode is all about using our policy to finance, from a consumer standpoint, to finance vacations. It's an exciting topic. What would happen if we used our policy to finance vacations? It's a good question. And it's what we're going to cover today. So especially since I am recording this video right at the beginning of September 2017, school has started. So maybe you're paying off a vacation you took this summer. Maybe you're starting to save up for next year's vacation. Maybe you guys are already putting together, like I am, plans with the family on what we're going to do next year and the year after. So we're going to talk about ways to use your policy and put it to work for vacation. So if you need to, during this video, stop and pause as I put up numbers just so you can see them for yourselves, because we are going to go over numbers here, and we're going to show the economic value of having a policy on your balance sheet and strategically using it in a case like this. So let's check this out. The comparisons that we're putting into effect here for today's talk is we're going to take into account you already have a policy. So this is specifically talking to our clients, and then also for those of you who are curious about how this could work for you, Eric and I can certainly help you with that. Just connect with us and let's figure out how we can put one of these together for yourself. But we're going to assume that we currently have a policy and we have more than enough cash value for what we're going to talk about today, right? So we can either compare, and we are going to compare, what's it like to use a cash account, where in the banks right now, we know cash is earning zero. So we want to talk about moving that cash or the improved earnings we can get if we have our cash actually working inside the policy, sometimes close to 5% not being taxed dependably nowadays. So effectively I'm going to use, but I'm going to be a little conservative, I'm going to say 4.5 for our talks today, 4.5%, right? And then secondly, since we have a loan provision, we can bring down the credit card costs, which can be anywhere from 12 to 17%, 17 to 23%. We're going to use 17 for today's talk, so we can bring that down by taking advantage of the loan provision. And with the loan provision inside of policy, which can be less than 5%, but I'm just going to crunch at 5%, we're going to see the effects of that. So when we go to finance a vacation, let's just assume that our vacation is a $5,000 family vacation, one time every 2 years. So we're just going to do a blowout vacation one time every 2 years, and this can be scaled up or scaled down, doesn't matter. We can even talk about doing it once every year, but for sake of some numbers and just show you this stuff, I wanted effectively to kind of show you what would happen over the course of 2 years. And the first thing I want to do is, if we wanted to save up $5,000 inside a cash account divided by 24 months, which is 2 years, we're basically saving up just under $210 a month over the course of time. So let's just say we have cash and we want to save that up. Effectively what we're going to do, and just think about this conceptually, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, all the way till we get up to $5,000. $5,000 in the account. Let me take away that little slash. And then effectively summertime hits, or 2 years from now hits, we spend it on the vacation, and if we want to go on another vacation 2 years down the road, we start saving up. Save. Vacation, do it again, right? And I think you're going to notice over time that's a very inefficient use of our dollars. We let interestingly enough, we let the banks make a lot of money on our dollars as we're saving it up. But we get to the point where we have $5,000 and then we spend it on vacay, right? Or effectively what we do is we use a credit card and we charge that bad boy $5,000, and then effectively we start paying 210 or maybe even more dollars back over the course of time at 17%. We actually end up paying the credit card company that little bit extra, that interest, right? Pay the credit card company that interest, and there's an interest cost associated with that. And effectively we pay it down, hopefully, and then effectively do it again. Next vacation, pay it back, 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 pay it back. In this case, the bank is making money on the interest cost associated with the credit card purchase and the credit card purchase and the the loan we have for that. And as a matter of fact, I wanted to kind of show on Truth Concepts, our calculators here, I wanted to effectively show if we have $5,000 that we want to pay back over 2 years, if we pay it back monthly, according to a schedule that'll knock it down to 0 in 2 years, we have to pay $247 a month. And over the course of time, we actually pay that bank $933 in interest. So the vacation actually cost us $5,933, right? So banks are happy to do that. That's why they send you the credit card offers, probably a little bit more than usual right before the beginning of the summer. Just like we probably end up getting a lot more right before the holiday time, gift buying time, right? Well, what we want to look at is the comparison in cost here. The cost that we incur for lazy dollars here, and then compare that all to how we can use our policy, cash value, to put our dollars to work. So what if we saved up this money and we have it inside the policy, right? And then right when we go to use the money for vacation, we know that that money is going to continuously grow, which we're going to see those numbers. But we have the borrow, so it's going to grow, so that's where we're putting our money to better work here. But we have the borrowing capability against it without interrupting it to reduce our interest costs to credit cards. So effectively we can borrow the money, pay it back, pay it back, pay it back, pay it back, pay it back. We pay that loan back to the insurance company in our policy. But along that time period, our dollars have actually grown even while we've used it. And then effectively 2 years later, we can again borrow to go on vacation. And again, our dollars have grown because we had them positioned to do so, and we borrowed and leveraged against it as an asset. So let's take a look at some of these numbers to see how beneficial this could be for us. Well, I already set up the second loan. If we have a policy loan, we want to use it for $5,000, and the loan rates are either just below or right at 5% right now. Over the course of time, if we wanted to borrow against the policy while it continues to grow, effectively we could pay a 5% loan rate. And if we did that, our payment wouldn't be $247, it would be $219. And rather than paying $933 in interest, we could effectively only pay $265 in interest. It's a big difference. So that's a massive difference. I'm going to compare the two now. $933 compared to $265. 933 minus 265 is $668 we get to save over the course of this same exact loan. $668 that is not being sent to a bank, right? And then interestingly enough, if we decided to then take it to the next level, which I'll show you in a few, there's a couple different talking points here. If we wanted to pay the same amount, $247, back towards a policy loan that we're controlling, we could effectively do the $247.21. We could pay that same amount back, and we'll have, not only will we reduce our cost from, what was it, what was it again a second ago? $265 over the course of time. We can reduce it down to $234 over the course of time, pay that loan off 2 months earlier, 2.5 months earlier actually. And then if we wanted to continuously save, like the habit that we have, we would end up having $700 more, of which we would have some decisions on what to do with it. Right? So we can reduce our interest costs from $933 down to $234 by taking advantage of this asset at $699 over the course of time. Right? Here it is right here, what we'd end up saving. And then effectively turn around and have a place to put that inside the policy. So let's take a look at this here a little bit. So the cost, the credit card cost over 2 years equals $933. Let's pull that number up again. $933. Use a policy, we can decrease that cost to anywhere from $265 to $234. So I'll say $234 if we're disciplined, right? So number one, using the policy strategically, having cash value inside that asset actually reduces your cost here by $699. Equals $699 in your pocket. And then if we want to, we can turn around, we can put that $699 in a place where it's productive, aka a policy, which I'll show you in a second, as opposed to letting it sit in the bank, knowing that we can borrow against the policy again whenever we want to, whenever that cash value is there to go on the next vacation. Now, let's take a look at what's happening inside the policy as we wait, as we let this thing marinate over time, right? And I'm just going to say, let's say you're 30 years old. And let's just run this thing out. And you have at least 5,000. We're just only going to look at a snapshot. What if you had that $5 grand in cash value? Maybe you have more than that, but we're just going to look at that snapshot. And let's just say that $5,000 is going to continuously grow uninterrupted, even while we borrow against over time. And we're going to take a look at this for 30 years. So just run it out to age, just shy of age 60, right? Well, if we have that $5,000 sitting in a bank, and we use it, and we put it back in the bank, and we use it, well, we'll have $5,000 at the end of 30 years. So let's just take a look at what happens here. $5,000 in a bank, 30 years, you got $5,000 as you keep putting it back, right? What if we had, what if we could have that money in a place like cash value where it's consistently earning, not taxed, right? Not taxed. And when we earn, it's our money to keep, and it's eligible for guaranteed growth, and it's eligible for dividends, and then when that's credited, it's ours, right? What if that money just sat there and earned over the course of those 30 years? Well, effectively now we can see that that same dollar amount, that, actually it's not even the whole way. That same $5,000 over the course of those 30 years reaches $18,727. So now, $5,000 in cash value, you're going to notice starts at $5,000, but works its way up to $18,000 over that same time frame, right? Just by deciding to hold our cash differently, right? We have the capability for the money to be productive, even while we turn around and we use it, like we showed you with the loans up above, for vacations and whatnot. And then what if we were treating ourselves like we would treat the credit card company, and we decided to pay ourselves back like we would treat a credit card company, and we paid at the same rate we would pay a credit card company, and we decided to make sure we knocked down our interest cost and then effectively captured those extra dollars at the end of every 2-year cycle. Well, that's $699 every 2 years. What if we add that to the same exact place where we're borrowing against that is a productive place for cash? What you're going to notice here is every 2 years I put in $699 every 2 years. Those last couple months, $699 at the end of those years. And you're going to notice that over the same course of this 30-year time frame, rather than this money floating towards the credit card companies, rather than this interest flying right out of your pocket and lining their pockets, not only do you have a more productive asset, an asset that's going to grow over time regardless of whether you use it or not, but you can use it, you can borrow against it, not interrupt it, and then if you decided to treat yourself as if you would treat with the same level of respect that you would end up treating a credit card company, look what happens to this account, just this $5,000 as you're using it, making sure it's productive inside of policy cash value, and then effectively adding to it as if you'd be paying interest to the credit card companies. Now that number is at $39,000, $39,500. So now you're more productive because you're taking the same principles that you've effectively would have been sending your interest to the credit card companies, and you have $39,000 you're controlling because of it. That's a massive difference between that $5,000 down there, right? So this is the way that, this is one of the ideas, and everybody's vacation is different, but this is just one of the ideas on how we can use the policy and our guaranteed line of credit against it, and use the policy as a productive place for cash, to store that cash, and then takes a routine purchase, a fun purchase. Think about the family conversations that can come out of using this as a family bank and say, hey, where do we want to go 2 years from now? Where do we want to spend that money? And maybe your number's 10 grand, maybe your number's 8 grand, maybe your number's 2 grand or 1 grand, whatever it is. But effectively, these charts and the truth concept calculators here should help you see the massive difference, and I'm going to copy this over to our front page, the massive difference that using a policy strategically for vacations can benefit you. Let me plunk that down right here. Get yourself a piece of this. If you haven't used the policy yet, let Eric and I know. If you don't have a policy, let Eric and I know. If you're a friend of a client or a friend of ours and you want to learn more about this, let Eric and I know, because you yourself can get a piece of that difference as well. Listen, Think Tankers, have a prosperous week. We'll see you on the next episode of 52 Ways to Put Your Policy to Work. Until then, stay prosperous.